9.7, using trig identity, sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equals 1. Since the ordered pair xy is on a circle centered at the origin, the radius is 1. It follows the Pythagorean Theorem, x squared plus y squared equals 1, which can be rewritten as sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equals 1. Use your quadrant unit circle to determine the positive and negative sides, and then also tan theta equals sine theta over cosine theta. Alright, so concept 1, and that's really we're only doing one, is finding trig values. So, given that sine theta equals 4/5 and pi over 2 is less than theta, which is less than pi, which is in between basically 90 and 180 degrees, or quadrant number 2. And it says find the two other trig identities. Okay, so we have sine, we got to find cosine and tangent. Alright, so I'm going to use this a trig identity right here. Sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equals 1. Okay, now what I'm going to do is plug in 4/5 for sine, and square that, plus cosine squared theta equals 1, and now I'm going to solve for cosine, right? So I'm going to square 4/5, that gives me 16/25, plus cosine squared theta equals 1. I'm going to subtract 16/25 from both sides, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 16/25 right here to save a little space. But one, I need to have common denominators, right? So why don't I make this 25/25? 25/25 is still 1. Now I have common denominators. I can subtract. I get cosine squared theta equals 25 minus 16, which is 9. 9 common denominator, 25. What I'm going to do is square root both sides. That will get rid of that power of 2 right there. And I'm going to just go ahead and move this on over here. And now I have cosine theta equals 3/5. Okay, now, as I talked about before, I have to be in relation right here. This is quadrant 2. And is cosine positive or negative? Well, again, here's my all sine, tangent, cosine, or all students take calculus. Well, in quadrant 2, cosine is negative. Right? So I'm going to bring down a negative sign right there. And now I have my cosine. Cosine theta is negative 3/5. Okay. Next, what I'm going to do is solve for tangent. And I'm going to use this right here. Tangent theta equals sine theta over cosine theta. And just real quick, in quadrant number 2, tan is negative. Right, so we should know it's negative. You're going to solve for it anyway. But tan theta equals sine theta over cosine theta. And I have tan theta equals 4/5 over negative 3/5. And if I go ahead and do copy dot flip, I get 4/5 times 5 over negative 3. And if I cross cancel, I get negative 4/3. So tangent theta equals negative 4/3. I just like the negative sign on top, generally. Alright, and there we go. Tangent theta equals negative 4/3. Cosine theta equals negative 3/5. And those are my two solutions. Alright, go ahead and move on down to number 2. give it a try. Just do your best. I'm going to go ahead and move it down to show your answer. Okay. Sine theta equals negative 5/13 and tangent theta equals 5/12. Pause it there. Check that out. I'm going to have one more problem to show you here. Number 3. So here we go. Scoot it down. Okay, so this time I am given tan theta, alright? So it doesn't work in our trig identity, the sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equals 1, right? So now what I have to do is find basically r. So I have this point, and if I look right here initially, right, this is 1.5 pi to 2 pi, which is in quadrant 4. Okay, which is this one right here. So if I have negative 7/4, it means I have to go 7 this way, right, and then down 4. And there's my theta right there. There's my 90 degrees, and there's my right triangle. And what I'm going to do is try to solve for r, my radius there. Okay. So now, when I do this, I'm going to use, again, Pythagorean Theorem. So here we go. Let me see if I can just do it here. So 7 squared plus negative 4 squared equals r squared. And I get 49 plus 16 equals r squared. 65 equals r squared. Oops, r squared. Take the square root to both sides. R equals the square root of 65. Alright, and excellent. Now I really have everything I need. I have r being 65. I have my x being my 7. And my y being my negative 4. And I should maybe even do that. Let's do that just real quick. That point right there is 7, negative 4. So there's my x is 7, my y is negative 4. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and write my trig identities, or my ratios. So sine theta, again, is y over r. So that's 7 over root 65. Make sure you multiply root 65 both top and bottom. I get 7 root 65 all over 65. I put x there. Should be 4 y. And it would be negative. Sorry about that. Cosine theta equals x over r, and now that's 7 over 65, root 65. And that equals 7 root 65 over 65. Tangent is given to me, so I don't need that one. I'm going to just keep on going here. So cosecant theta is r over y, which is root 65 over negative 4. And that's it. Just negative root 65 over 4. I didn't need to rewrite that one. Secant theta is r over x. So that's root 65 over 7. And I kind of run out of room. I'm going to scoot over here. Cotangent theta is my what? It's my x over y. And that is my 7 over negative 4. Nope. Take that back. Should be, maybe it's y over x, because should be 4 over 7. Negative. has to be the reciprocal of negative 7/4. Alright, there we go. That is it.